Oh, I'm sorry. Were you expecting a big fancy intro? Ha! No, 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 no. Ain't gonna be no intro. Not for this one. No. Do you want to know why? Because I want justice. Justice for Bob. So, Beetlejuice is the long awaited sequel to Tim Burton's 1988 Beetlejuice. And after all these years, how does it hold up? Hmm, let's talk about it. It's probably the best Tim Burton movie in a long time. I mean, that you have all the characters, the original cast back, most of them anyway, and yeah, I mean, it's almost like they filmed it like back to back. Everybody looks great. You know, Winona Ryder looks amazing. Catherine looks great as Lydia. Michael Keaton straight back in the role as if he never left. It's genuinely just so cool to see. It's not often that you get to see that, but story wise, like the last movie, the original was about the Maitlands. They're not in this. This isn't their story is over, and they explained it in this movie that with the line they say that the Maitlands found a loophole, and they were able to pass on to the other side. So their story is over. So, but I think it's cool that they at least acknowledged them. They mentioned them, so that's cool. And the main plot of this movie basically surrounds Lydia's dad, Charles, who has passed away. And the reason his character couldn't come back, well, the actor couldn't come back for certain reasons we'll not get into. I'm sure you've already read it. It's all over social media, or just Google it. So it's a good thing that he's not in this movie, thank Christ. But they do put a lot of focus on his character, which part of me wishes they didn't. I wish they had have done they done a clay motion of his character, how he dies, and which is hilarious, by the way. But they should have done that, and then they should have just done the funeral. I sort of just left it there. Maybe mention him, like talking about it, like name wise, like Charles or Dad. But they kept showing this picture pretty much throughout the whole movie, and it felt a little bit icky. But whatever, it doesn't matter. So that's just what I think. That's just a little personal nitpick. But other than that, the story is great. Beetlejuice is awesome. And you're also introduced to Lydia's daughter, played by Jenna Ortega, as Astrid. Her character's it's pretty much like one thing I've noticed about all movies that come out with sequels that have 20 years or whatever being in the making, they always seem to come back with the exact same trend. Like the daughter or the son is fell out with, isn't talking to the main character, and they don't get on. Like the new Beverly Hills Cop had it. Like it's sort of like it's like something you have to have. Nobody knows how to just throw the characters in. You always have to have a strained daughter or son that doesn't talk, or they're and the grumpy, you know, teenager thing is done to death at this point. It's almost generic at this point. It's sort of a boring thing to see at this point because that many movies are doing it. The stroppy teenager that's I hate you, mom. Like fucking hell. Is there nothing else you people can think of these days? Have you ran out of ideas? Okay. I had to get that out. But Yeah, Michael Keaton knows Beetlejuice on point. He's fucking awesome. I think his character at this point runs like a call, like a call, fucking office. Can't fucking think of the name. Call center. That's it. Call center. And you have all the characters, but you see in the cover, the big bodies and the tiny heads, which they which I thought was hilarious. And so it tells a story basically of Beetlejuice's ex girlfriend or wife. No, yeah, wife. And she's basically a soul sucker. So she literally sucks your soul. What a woman, right? So you get a really cool scene where she's like in pieces and all of the pieces like slowly come together, like and form into, like a whole body. And like she's stapling or half of her face on. It's really cool. And of course, you have the janitor make a cameo, and that janitor is Danny DeVito, which is so cool that he had a little cameo in this. That was pretty kick ass. But yeah, so I'm not going to get into the spoilers, but her character development sort of shows how Beetlejuice died as well. Like you get to see how his character originally died, and many things like you have William Defoe's character Wolf Jackson, who's like a detective, but he's like an action star, and he does pretty good in this. But I kind of found him a little bit pointless. But that's just my personal pet peeve. But everything else is really good. Like you have all the practical effects are all still there. The stop motion is still in it. Like I said earlier, clay motion is in for a part of it, and it hasn't lost the magic that it once had in the original, which is pretty cool. It still has the Tim Burton like magic in it. That's not the word I was looking for, but I couldn't remember, so I just do magic in. Way. So I think it holds up. I think after all these years, like all the characters look like them. Delia is exactly the same. Just she's lost in her own head, but you know. And one character I did miss in this was Otho, but I know he couldn't come back because the actor passed away, unfortunately. So it's a shame because I liked his character in the first one. I always found him funny. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm in the minority of that, but I just thought he was just funny. But other than that, it's cool. It is a good movie. It's a great sequel. It does hold the magic from the original, which honestly it does. And yeah, honestly, that without spoilers, I can't. I don't want to spoil anything like too heavy, but not that there really is that much. I mean, you already know all of it. Charles is dead, and the only thing I'm not spoiling is how it ends, which in my opinion felt rushed. There were a couple of aspects of this movie that did just feel rushed, like especially the last third act. In my opinion, just it did pay off good, but there's a lot of reference. It's full of nostalgia. All the actors do a really good job. Literally all of the actors. There isn't one bad actor in here. There's not one that's like, ugh. Like I said, William Dafoe's character, we could have done without because there was already so much crammed into this movie. He just seemed pointless. But it was great to see him. I love William Dafoe. Big Spider-Man fan. And yeah, if I were to score it out of 10, I would give it, I say 7.5 out of 10. I would give it. It is a solid entry. It holds up after all of these years. And yeah, great movie. just too much into it. There's too much crammed into it. I think if they had focused and took a couple of things out of the movie and focused on like, just the basic simple stuff, it would have been a lot better. But hey, it's still a great movie. It's the best Tim Burton movie in a long time. And I would definitely watch it again, and I do recommend it. So it's great to see Michael Keaton. Fucking love that guy. Ah, what a guy. He's still. I remember when I was a kid, the one movie I watched with Michael Keaton in it that actually brought me to tears every time I watched it was Jack Frost. The ending of it, where he says goodbye. God, I always remember that. Great movie. Fuck yeah. But anyway, yeah. So Beetlejuice. 7.5 out of 10. Totally recommend it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. And yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, don't kill anyone.